where you're just around people that think like you, talk like you. And what happens is it caricatures people that disagree with you. And so, it labels, liberal people as, tree huggers, radicals, crazy woke people, and it labels, MAGA, Trump supporters as all of them being white supremacists and horrible people. And the truth of the matter is that they're good and bad people on both sides of the political spectrum. And in order for our democracy to be stable, we're going to have to veer back to a place where we don't hate one another, but we just disagree with one another. Because the truth of the matter is that we all want the same things. We want a good life. We want great kids. We want safe schools. But we disagree on the direction that we should go to get there. So, with further ado, I'd like to introduce the moderator for today's event, Mr. Brandon Bryce. He's the Director of Philanthropy at United Way. So I'm going to turn it over to him. So on behalf of the Wilmington Library staff, welcome to Chopping It Up with Judge Joe Brown and Michael Eric Dyson.
Thank you, Jamar. Oh, thank you, Jamar. I'm a pretty loud speaker. How's everyone this evening? Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, like we say, let's get ready to rumble! Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
All right, folks, without further ado, let it go. Bring it down. In the ring.
Let's get ready to rumble.
At 6'1". The one, the only, Michael Eric Dyson.
Y'all ready for this?
All right, sir. All right. And his opponent, all the way from Washington, D.C., Judge Joe Brown.
Y'all ready for this?
All right, folks, this is the Clash of the Titans. We're going to have a conversation and actually have what we call barbershop talk. That means real conversation, real news, and real dialogue this evening. All right, gentlemen, please take your seats. I have Judge Joe Brown on my right. Oh, got you. And I have Dr. The man, the myth. You see him on MSNBC. You see him on all publications. Michael Eric Dyson. So, gentlemen, thank you. All right.
So now that they finally got to their introduction, ladies and gentlemen, nice to meet you. My name is X. This is my partner, AK, and we're here having Men Talk this week. And this week I wanted to play a video from that occurred last week, which was a live debate between two elder statesmen in the community, which would be Professor Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, I believe is his name, and we would have also Counselor Judge Joe Brown, So they have two different perspectives. One you would consider to be extremely liberal, and one you would consider to be extremely conservative. So we're just here to catch on to both sides of the bird to see how this bird is actually even flying.
This is part of our Chopping It Up series, and these were questions that came from the greater Wilmington area about how do we fix issues in the black community. All we ask is that you are honest, straight to the point, and keep it real. All right, first question. You know, it's unfortunate and if you have heard, we've lost one of the Migos characters, Takeoff, due to gun violence. My first question will go with you, Dr. Dyson. What is the biggest issue impacting black males to date?
Well, first of all, it's great to be here with Judge Joe Brown, a legendary and iconic figure in our community and indeed in the nation. So it's an honor to have this little tete-a-tete and conversation with such a distinguished figure. Obviously, what's confronting young black men, lack of resources, lack of employment, lack of education, the flooding of our communities and indeed this nation with guns. Back in Judge Joe Brown's day, back in my day, there was a resolution of disagreement with fisticuffs. Sometimes in a dice game you might get cut. But the rapid proliferation of access to guns has led to a devastating consequence for so many of our communities. So we can talk about the ethical and moral outlook that we should encourage, that most black communities encourage upon our young people to take care of themselves, to get educated, to do as best they can in the culture. We go to church, we go to temple, we go to synagogue, we hear the moral lessons being encouraged upon us. But when I look at the devastating consequences of the hatred of the other, what used to be called black-on-black crime, people kill where they live. 93% of black people who are murdered by black people. 83% of white people who are murdered by white people. If you want integrated killing, have integrated communities. The truth is that there is lateral violence, and the violence expressed of one black person to another in intimate spaces where people are killing folk that they know or are familiar with. Because if you're at a game, you at least got to be introduced to somebody. And even if he's a victim of either friendly fire or incidental violence, the tragedy is that our communities are gutted because of the devastation of the downward turn in the economy, the lack of access to resources, the failure to understand the necessity of a certain kind of preparation that we take upon ourselves, and as well the ways in which we have been discouraged from believing that our lives are worth something. That doesn't come out of the thin air. That doesn't absolve people of personal responsibility to address the situations in which they could discover themselves, but it's also a collective and institutional enterprise as well.
Same question for you, Judge Joe Brown. What's the biggest issue impacting black males today?
All right. Let me start off with a little example to explain it. Anybody in here afraid of me? No, you like me. But I've taken martial arts for 55 years, and there are not many adult humans I can't kill without a weapon very quickly. But you're not worried about me because I have character. I'm here to protect you, not to hurt you. We're seeing a lack of character in our community and across the United States because we are out of balance. We need women and we need men. But we have attempted to emasculate our communities, and we have no fathers in the homes. We have no fathers in the hood. We have no culture that is putting fatherhood out there so that the boys understand that they are to grow up and be men, and being a man, your job is to make where you live a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, morality, and ethics. You are men of public peace, dignity, and order who can be brave and courageous when necessary. And if we do not teach these young boys that, they grow up to be monsters because they're out of control. Now, as a pragmatic matter, I got elected to 2 8-year terms as a criminal court judge in Tennessee. And over that time period I was in, the statewide recidivism rate for felons was 80%. In my courtroom, I dropped it down to 18%. Anybody that I put on bond, anybody that I put on probation, you had to deal with Judge Joe's counseling sessions. And I put manhood in their heads so when they looked in the mirror in the morning, they had a guiding factor. So whether it was shame, whether it was guilt, they would look at themselves in the mirror and say, did you do what you were supposed to do as a man yesterday? Are you going to do it today? Or are you going to prepare to do it tomorrow? And they come up to me now, 30 years later, and they say, Judge, you remember me? No, sir. Well, you gave me some time. Did I give you enough? Well, you know, it was that thing about manhood, and now I've got 4 children and 6 grandchildren, and I teach them what you taught me. And I've got 15 young men in the neighborhood that I'm trying to counsel so they become positive factors. So when I do that, I don't think it's all worthless and there's no purpose. There is a reason. And even if I'm not here tomorrow, I did something to help the other people see the daylight at the end of the tunnel, and I become a hero. That is what I'm trying to do. We have to put character back in the hood. I passed the mic.
All right, Dr. Dyson, this question is for you. Given the political climate today, before now, what efforts have been made individually and collectively by the Biden administration to understand what Black America experiences today?
Well, obviously, the Biden administration has made certain strategic moves, certain substantive moves.
He can't do nothing with Judge Joe Brown.
But yeah, man, Judge Joe Brown, 101, man. It's like him and Dick Gregory from that same cloth. You hear me?
You said him and who?
Dick Gregory.
That's a fact.
This old heads that's just going to just shoot straight.
No holding back, nothing. Just, tell her like it is.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And that was a good talking point, at least that first point. I know they're getting ready to continue and stuff, but it was like, that was some of the reason why I chose this video today for today's Men Talk. Like they had said themselves, it's like a barbershop conversation. But it's an elder debate. It's different when you hear people in their 20s speak on what they speak on, or 30s. These is men that's well into their lives, maybe 70, 80. Like, you know what I'm saying? Well into their lives. So it's like hearing their perspective, it's a lot of time in their statements. They not just speaking frivolously. At least we hope not. So we just trying, hear the wisdom in what they speaking. Wisdom. It's like you can have intellect at any age, but wisdom, that's, that comes with time. So we just want to see what it's gonna hit on.
Indeed.
And then what you think about that first question or that first point? Would you agree with Joe Brown, or would you say a little bit of both? Or
I say yes. I say yeah. I agree with him. I feel like that we have to just learn learn from other people's mistakes. Learn from so we don't have to go through that. So we don't have to, get incarcerated or nothing like that. Just learn from, your loved ones who may have experienced something like that. And just basically just, live your life according to that. Not in fear or nothing like that, but just, take that principle and just apply it to your life, really. Just do unto others as you would do to do for yourself.
Right, that's encompassing our subject for the month again, which is gratitude. Where it's just like if you apply that as a law or one of your 10 principles on how you move, then it's naturally be one of the 10 things that come back to you in a grateful way.
Indeed, that's a fact.
It won't happen all the time though, the way life's set up. But nothing happens all the time. So
yeah, that's a bigger fact. Yeah, man. Nothing guaranteed but change.
Certain political moves and certain legislative moves, right? So when you think about the fact that Biden committed to run with a black woman, right, the first in history, and then put a black woman on the Supreme Court who's already earning her keep by asking penetrating questions, by being far more vocal than the black man who occupies that space, right? When Judge Joe Brown talks about character, it ain't just in the hood, it's those who wear hoods, right? And I think it's critical that Joe Biden's symbolic in terms of black women in these critical places, are also symbolic gestures, although they have substantive impact, are also accompanied by efforts to redress the economic inequity in the country. So when you see Republicans pushing back on right now the ability of black people to be able to, as other citizens, enjoy $20,000 of reparation, if you will, for student loans. The right wing is organized against that because it's not explicitly racially based, though it has racial consequence. They are arguing against that because it helps black people. Again, who could take a lesson, not only the Migos, but the right-wing Republicans who refuse to acknowledge the systemic complicity and white supremacist orientation of their entire tradition, trajectory, and history against the betterment of the masses of people, including, by the way, poor and working class white folk, right? So they need character too, all right? Joe Biden, in terms of trying to put forth arguments about distribution of resources in terms of health care, trying to extend what has been called Obamacare to protect it. The Supreme Court so far, surprising to many, including Chief Justice Roberts, have protected that particular health care mandate that has been translated into legislation that has helped millions of people in our communities. The attempt to even reduce, and the judge and I were speaking about this earlier, the disparity between powder and crack cocaine. We know it was significantly reduced, but it still needs to be reduced. And then the other day, freeing all those people, or insisting that they be freed, who were put in jail for abusing some weed. Now again, right, we ain't trying to justify folks smoking weed, because most of y'all in this room done smoked it. You just ain't got caught, so you going to church and acting like the Holy Ghost got you when you barely skated through on that sticky green. So at least I've heard that. I've looked at Judge Joe's court and I've seen that. I'm not sure. So the thing is that there are strategic deployments of messages to the black community, of substantive messages to the black community, of substantive politics to the black community? Does there need to be more? Yes. We'll look at what happened with the IRA. The point is that the black farmers were left high and dry, so that Attorney Benjamin Crump is suing in order to get restored to them the reparative monies that were delivered to them, or at least promised to them, I should say, because of the systemic inequities that farmers face. So yeah, there are a patchwork of legislation, of strategic and symbolic gestures. And let's be honest, when the judge speaks about character, he's right. Look at the orange apparition that beclouded the American horizon for 4 years and that continues to do so. Thank God Elon Musk didn't own Twitter then, because he would be standing up every morning to excrete the feces of his moral depravity into a nation he's turned into a psychic commode. So for me, it is both policy, it is practice, it is behavior, and it is tone that is set as well. Because to open ourselves to a white supremacist demagogue with crypto-fascist impulses and neo-authoritarian impulses needs to be held in check. So even though he's an old white man that folks say is, on the downswing, I disagree with that. He's an old white man doing what he does. We got Judge Joe Brown up here, 75 years old, and as sprightly as anybody up in this room. So I say I love older people doing their thing. Let's keep this man in office a little bit longer to see what he gonna do.
Judge Joe Brown, same question with you. The Biden administration, helping or hurting black America? Your thoughts?
Let's put it this way. First off, I was a lifelong Democrat. Now I am an independent. I played football in high school in LA at Dorsey High and also at UCLA. Long, long time ago. I remember I detested and despised our quarterback. I hated his guts, but I blocked for him because he delivered the passes that got the touchdowns made that got us to the championship. All right? Don't have to like somebody to go for them. Now, that said, I detest and despise the current president. 50-some years ago, I was down here in Dover doing research for a D.C. think tank that I was interning for. I heard a commotion outside, and I went out, and there was John B. Stennis. There was Eastland. There was Faubus. That's the guy that stood in the doorway of Little Rock High School and said those young Negro, black, Afro-American, African-American black students, some of whom I have met in life, were not going in there. Bird was there, and they were introducing the new up-and-coming Dixiecrats, and I saw a young man with a ducktail looking back like he was back in 1950-something, said some of the most disgusting things I'd ever heard said about my people. It's in the White House right now. Now, you have to look deeply at what is actually going on. Let's take the forgiveness of the student loan thing. Sounds good, except when you back off any place in the rest of the world that you had a 4-year college degree, you would be firmly in the middle class. In the United States of America, the Labor Department has said the middle class makes, if you're just one person, $125,000 a year, and that is the cutoff point for any relief under this thing with the student loans. So when they're giving you relief, that is a testimony that something is wrong here because you're not making what you ought to make with your education. Meanwhile, let's back off. Was it wholeheartedly done, or is there another purpose involved? Well, if you are a bank or a financial institution, you no longer have to wait for these loans to be paid off in installments. You get all of your interest and a complete repayment on the obligation all at one time. You can discharge people in your loan collection departments. You don't have court costs and attorney fees to take people to court. You make a ball. Meanwhile, some people are happy, but their financial circumstances still haven't changed, and they're not in the middle class, even though they've got a 4-year degree. Why is that? Because the country is not dealing with what it ought to deal with, because computerization and industrial technology have made most working class people obsolete. So there are not enough jobs going around to enough people. So what we do is the same thing when we have a surplus in any kind of commodity, whether it is wheat, corn, cotton, or people. We do 3 things. We store the surplus. That's the jail cell instead of the grain silo. You have the subsidy of the would-be producer. That's the government check that people become too dependent upon. You pay the farmer ordinarily, say not to grow soy, and you cut back production. Well, the farmer doesn't grow soy, but in our case, with all of the negatives on social media, entertainments, the kids bang out, drug out, drop out, get pregnant too early, too often, don't develop any vocational skills, any academic excellence. They have wrong ideation. They turn where they live into chaos-filled areas. They just are unemployable, and when they get that first felony, then you don't have to worry about them. And why is that important? Because there's some guys, one of whom was named Timothy McVeigh, get real worked up, and they go down and buy $250 worth of ammonium nitrate fertilizer, and they go blow up a courthouse in Oklahoma City and kill 240-some people. Well, they don't want that, so they come up with a safety valve. You have schoolhouse to jailhouse pipelines, and you put people who are in a position where there's surplus to the labor requirements in there, and everybody gets to talking about free to righteous brothers in the penitentiary, which that has some traction. But I know from 50 years in criminal law, you have 97+% who pled guilty. They didn't get found guilty. Got 84 to 87% that confessed. Some people are not guilty. They're not guilty people. I got the youngest person in the world off death row. He was 15 years and 2 months when I got a stay of execution, 23 minutes before they were going to execute him in Arkansas. Now, yeah, there are things that happen, but we have to develop this character thing so you don't get people put in or robbing their neighbors, raping their neighbors, gangstering their neighbors, killing their neighbors, and trying to deal with a new thing, which is suicide by a neighbor rather than suicide by a cop, and get themselves in a mess where we have to worry about where we go at night, when we go there at night, and now in the daytime. There are some things that be done. So don't worry about whether you like somebody. Just think of it as you're on a team, and even if you don't like your quarterback personally, you want him to throw that touchdown pass, and you block for him. Now,
speaking of education, and I want to ask both of you this question. This came from the audience. What are your thoughts? I'll start with you, Dr. Dyson. What are your thoughts on critical race theory? Some say it's telling the truth on American history. Others say it's anti-American rhetoric. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, and I just want to amplify what the judge said. Character, again. You know, when you got your family to hook up in the White House as your advisors, when you're using American economy as an extension to bankroll your own practices and commodifying cultural consciousness and political practice to serve your own venal, vicious ends, they ain't got no character. And you talk about white crime, white-collar crime versus blue-collar crime, and it's true. And the judge is absolutely right. Ain't nobody arguing. This is no brief in defense of thugs. But there are thugs everywhere. And the thugs have to be called out where they are. We know one group will be identified because what the judge is speaking about, the reason y'all amen in it, y'all believe that if you do the crime, you should do the time. Y'all believe that your community should not be rife with all kinds of moral pollution. But the other side that claim they believe the same thing, January 6th proved they don't believe none of that. They don't believe no Blue Lives Matter. They were devastating the police people on that day. They don't believe in the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Federalist Papers. They took a Confederate flag, the banner of disloyalty, and drug it through the United States Capitol, the very embodiment, symbolically speaking, of democratic practice, small d. And then imagine if a brother or sister thugging out had thugged up on that put his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Oh, and by the way, the other day somebody went to her crib. Speaking of thuggery, speaking of lack of character, the white supremacist crackerocracy, the rule, reign, and tyranny of white supremacist ideals, norms, and values, I'm talking specifically about that, show themselves to be bankrupt. So Juju and Jamal and them need to be held to account, and the rest of these thugs need to be thrown in jail who work for us in American democracy. Now, to answer your point about education, critical race theory, and we have one of the most distinguished jurists in our nation sitting on this platform here, right? Critical race theory is a legal theory invented first by Derek Bell, right, who was working with James Meredith in Mississippi, and then became the first tenured law professor at Harvard University. And Kimberly Crenshaw, Gary Peller, Marie Matsuda, Charles Lawrence, right? It's you would call it an egghead theory in the sense that us eggheads, philosophers and theoreticians and academicians, we up in the academy, we're coming up with very practical considerations that have theory at their base. And all critical race theory says, when it comes to thinking about institutional racism, don't think individuals, think institutions. It's not whether or not you call me the N-word, it's whether or not the tax base will determine who gets an education and who gets the best education. Or the tax base and the property base will determine the distribution of goods and resources for education. So you might have a $70, $80, $90 million school out in the suburbs of Philadelphia or in Delaware, and in the inner city barely running water with textbooks still second and third hand. So critical race theory is simply saying, as a legal philosophy, let's think not individual but institution, not particular persons but systems in terms of the force and function of inequality in America. They ain't teaching no 5th grade students no daggum CRT. These white folk, for the most part, and Negroes too, who are against CRT wouldn't know the difference between CRT and OPP. Right? And so, critical race theory, I've taught it for years. It's a philosophically dense, theoretically propitious, very concentrated form of thought about the social structural inequities that prevail, that disallow certain communities to inherit goods and services for which they pay their precious tax dollars. So CRT is critical and necessary, but what they're trying to be against is the teaching of history in general. If you look at Ron DeSantis, what he did when he signed that anti-CRT bill was saying what? We don't want white students to be uncomfortable. Guess what, homie? Discomfort is the basis of true education. Unless you hear a Judge Joe Brown go against what you think is the commonsensical way, and he twists it with his homespun genius, you're going to get uncomfortable because he's spitting some truth into you that you don't want to deal with. But that will motivate you to think differently about your situation. We are not here to make you comfortable. We're here to tyrannize your comfort when it rests upon inequality and the refusal to acknowledge the humanity of the masses of people. So CRT ain't about trying to make white folk guilty. It's about holding to account what the judge said. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. These lack of character having politicians who refuse to abide by the same principles that they live by. Let us have the same insurance you got up on Capitol Hill. Let the masses of American citizens enjoy those privileges. So for me, it's about anti-education. It's about, look, they love history except when it comes to us. 15,000 books on Abraham Lincoln. Books on even Aaron Burr, who, as you know, is Raymond Burr's cousin. All right, I just want to see if y'all knew Perry Mason. I'm just saying, right? So the point is that critical race theory is a theory, a legal, academic theory that got taken by a young white student, graduated from Georgetown, who when reading the anti-racist literature discerned the repetition of citation of critical race theory and said, that will preach to the conservative firebrand. I can use that to manipulate the consciousness of poor people, of working class white people, and of ignorant people of history to make them believe that what they're trying to teach your kid is critical race theory. No, we're trying to teach them about democracy. We're trying to teach them about white supremacy and slavery. We're trying to teach them about the beauty and the power and the beauty, the elegance of the country in which we live, and some of the historical factors of the brutality and ugliness that we did at the same time. You can't love some history. Either you love history altogether or you don't love history at all. They reenact these Civil War battles. They dress up. They put all the costumes on. But one book about black slavery, oh my God, no. One book that talks about 1619, oh no. The point is, either you are deeply imbued with a historical consciousness and an appreciation for history, or you ain't. Gore Vidal had it right. We live in the United States of amnesia. And many of these folk believe that Barbra Streisand supplies the theme song. What's too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget. And if you don't like Barbra Streisand, Gladys Knight did a hell of a remix of that song too.
All right. I want to segue the conversation. It was mentioned, Blue Lives Matter was mentioned, Judge Brown. I want to ask you, do you believe in the concept of defunding the police? How should policing be reformed today?
Well, since I'm running for mayor of Memphis, I have an extensive and very detailed plan to do something about it. No, the police do not need to be defunded because crime is rampant everywhere, including in the black communities. What we do need is a total revision of the structure of the typical U.S. police department. Police department needs to be restructured like the U.S. Pentagon and the Department of Defense. You have a civilian commander-in-chief, that's the president, a civilian secretary of defense, one over the Army, one over the Navy, et cetera, sub-secretaries who are civilians. We need the same thing. We don't need civil service chiefs of police. We need civilian directors. We need sub-directors over homicide, uniform patrol, sex crimes, property crimes, traffic, etc. We need direct communications input by the citizenry. You have a thing that you can see in good operation down in Detroit called Dads in Schools. And we need the same thing where we get the people in the community who are allowed to participate and go out in patrols regulated along with the police so they can say, young man, come here. What do you think you're doing? We need to talk with you. And we need to start putting the civilian context back in what's going on. And the other thing is that police, in my experience, have been a one-one reflection of the political realities in the area. If the police don't treat you like anything, your representation is not good. Examine the people that you have chosen to represent you because they're not doing their job. Now, all that being said, we don't need to defund the police. We need to revise what police are about. They are supposed to be protecting and serving us. And then several things you have to take into context in American law. It has been held by the U.S. Supreme Court and the federal appellate courts over and over again. The police have no obligation to protect anyone except those people they actually have in custody. If in the process of stopping criminal activity, they protect you, that's incidental because their primary business is to keep public peace, dignity, and order. So nobody's protecting you. Second Amendment is going out of the window sometimes. The police aren't there for you, so what are you supposed to do? That is a problem, and that's where we are right now. So somehow or another along this line of thought, we have to say we have to take back our neighborhoods. They belong to us. We ought to be deeply ashamed that our children have run the parents and the adults out of their own houses. I'm not used to that. And I don't see why you should. Take control of where you live. We run off at the mouth all the time. Why don't you, by the way, go pull the coattail on your pastor? Say, Pastor, what's happened? I haven't heard you preach about sin and its wages in a long time. Somebody said, why don't you go to church much, Judge? I said, I haven't heard a sermon on sin and the wages in 30-some years. What are you doing? It's all about belief, not deeds. Well, somewhere along the line, somebody's got to say, oh, no, that's wrong. You can't do that. And I collared a preacher 2 weeks ago. You know what he told me? Judge, we can't say that anymore. I said, why not? Because everybody get up and walk out the congregation. Now, if you don't want to behave, if you don't want to hear about it, don't complain about it. A lot of things that need to be said are uncomfortable. A lot of things might sound good, but they're not good for you. What do we tell our children? Don't eat that candy. Why don't they eat the candy? It tastes good, but it rots their teeth. Gives them bad habits. Gets them hyper and acting like they've lost their little minds. So we need to do that with ourselves. Enough of this feel-good candy, and whether you like somebody or not, let's do the cold-blooded calculus. I have one vote. Maybe can contribute to somebody's election. What do I get for that vote? You and yours get what you need? Or are you wanting and you look at somebody else getting a lot and you get nothing? And then basically, it's about some things. Public, peace, dignity, order. It's about decency, it's about honor, and it's about respect. Are we supporting somebody's policy where that's gone out the window? Or are we trying to say, I don't care. I don't like the quarterback, but I got a block for this guy because I want him to score a touchdown. Remember, I'm an independent. I don't care about anybody except what's effective.
So Judge Brown, speaking of what's effective, let me ask you, and then I'll come back to you, Dr. Dyson. What are your thoughts on voter suppression? Is it racist? Is it wrong to require people to have ID when they vote?
No, it's not wrong to have ID. I represented, ill acquainted with murderers, thieves, thugs, gangsters, and they all have driver's licenses. I mean, you trying to thug out. I mean, you driving down the street, no license, you going straight to jail. So they have driver's licenses. In just about every state, if you want to register to vote, you get it through the DMV. If you can get a driver's license, you can get a voter's registration card. That's specious. Now, Next thing, since 2008 in Shelby County until 4 or 5 months ago, the feds put up funds to replace every one of the corrupted, hacked voting machines we had in that county. The Justice Department under Bush, under Obama, under Trump, and under Biden say those machines are hopelessly corrupted, and you people haven't had a fair election since 2000. At one time, the Republican Party controlled that. Right now, it's the Democratic Party, and every single time it's come up resolution, let's use the federal money that they put up to replace these machines and get some fair ones, it has been voted down, and nobody's questioning. So who's doing what? See, everybody needs to be held to account. So when you have a system that plays fast and loose with you, that isn't truthful with you, and it's like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it gets scary when our forums get controlled and somebody says this is private enterprise, we can control what you hear if we don't like it. They have to broadcast. They impact commerce and communications interstate, so they should be public utilities. But since Musk took over Twitter, strangely, I picked up about 3,000 followers in 2 days. They'd been shadow blocking before. And now I just posted an article, a study that came out that said real life people are actually checking out what you are doing and posting on these institutions and blocking them if they don't like it and it doesn't go with their agenda. There were supposed to be algorithms. Cut me off.
Mike.
You said too much.
You can't trust these things.
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check, please.
Oh, Mike, I'll yell. Look
All
at
right.
you.
All right.
Yeah, hey, bruh. Hey, bruh. Hey, bruh, they cut his mic even in them motherfucking debate.
Right on cue. I knew, hey, it had to happen sometime. Right on time.
What the fuck is we living in, bruh? You can't even say nothing that's the truth. These niggas be tight.
And Steve Judge, Joe Brown broke it down to where normal people can understand it.
That's why they had to cut the mic. Stop momentum.
Right, yeah. Gotta be. Because, yeah, he was touching on touchy subject beforehand about Joe Biden. You know, I kind of dislike him. But with that football analogy, you know, you got to protect the quarterback so we can score, you know, so. Him saying that today, it kind of just made me change my perspective about Joe Biden and start looking at it as, you know, a whole team, a whole nation as, you know,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, our team.
You know, I try to stay in them football analogies. That's usually where I find most of my genius. I understand football, so, man, but this shit just, it's crazy, man, because he just gave the fireest gem, I think, of the year when he was like, the whole time, because that's arguably why Library was just found guilty with the SEC, the Library token, you know what I'm talking about, or why Ripple's now going against the SEC, or why all these things is happening, because it'd be like, you be thinking shit is fair game or decentralized, or you can do what you want, and then some privatized or some centralized aspects emerge, or even how CZ just flamed up, what's white boy name? Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX. And it's like, his argument with SBF was what? basically SBF could print his own money, like he got his own money machine because he can control the FTT token. But it's like that's super hypocritical because it's like CZ do the same exact thing with the BNB token. You get what I'm saying? But it'd be like they play these man. It's just been a crazy day. Like I even seen Polkadot drop a statement saying that Polkadot was a security, but it's now developed into a software. Like, bruh, like it's a whole lot happening this week, bruh. It's only Monday.
Yeah. And they trying to say they selling Solana to keep FTX afloat.
But bruh, if you ever remember when I talked about them two tokens, I always mention that with this.
That's why I brought it up.
I always, when everybody was going for them two, I'm like, nah, them. But the whole thing is, they gonna ride or die together. It's like them two could ride it out and make it through, or they gonna, you know what I'm saying, get caught in the mix.
That's crazy, man.
Because with SBF. Oh, you go ahead, bro.
Oh no, I was just saying I don't wish downfall on nobody, man, because I know at the end of the day, I still to this day feel like Do Kwon was trying to do good.
He definitely was. He actually did what Judge Joe Brown was just complaining about, but in the positive aspects where it was like Do Kwon actually created an algorithmic stable coin. But these folks don't want no algorithmic stable coin. They don't want no algorithm nothing, bruh. That's why we seeing all this shit going on where they be like shit decentralized, da-da-da-da, but they don't really want that. They like having the Federal Reserve Bank. They like having, you know what I'm saying, different people like medians of security in different positions, you know, to where it's like as long as you have, you could blame the Federal Reserve Chairman or you could blame this politician, blame that, you know what I'm saying? Because then it's like people never care to figure out the truth. They just accept who you can blame.
That's a fact. I've been noticing that too. There's a big pattern going on with that. It's who's to blame every time.
Exactly, like, you know, and that's how they keep on blurring up the truth. Like even watching this debate, it's like you got Joe Brown speaking, like he said. The reason why Joe Brown or Cardi Till gonna win this debate is because the biggest thing he did was he declared himself an independent. So as an independent, all the rhetoric that they usually want to attach to him, like they keep trying to attach Trump to him or Republican stuff to him, it's hard to attach that to him when he keeps saying he an independent. You know what I'm saying? Because then that's him showing that he has balance. Then he even messed him up because he gave him the, I've been a Democrat for like 30 plus years. You know what I'm saying? I just now became independent. So then it's like it offers somebody that, because usually when you hear somebody's black and conservative or Republican or whatever, you typically get like, you know, they try to play you like you Candace Owens or Kanye or whatever, or Ye, you know what I'm saying? So you never really get to see an aged male, or they might even, what's cuz they play football that they be going on, Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
So to see Joe Brown, you know, so to see Joe Brown articulate exactly what he's trying to say without offending any side, because that's where a lot of people end up getting, you know, caught in it. Because it's like, even dude right now, he baiting them in to trying to offend somebody would be offensive, you know, and it's like, we all super intelligent, or, you know, we should be at a higher level of thinking to where we shouldn't have to insult people, you know.
That's a fact. Yeah,
and that's
them two especially.
And that's some shit I'm working on my damn self. Like I say, that is something that, you know, especially New Year in life and all that shit, definitely want to like hold myself to a better standard.
100%.
You know,
hey, everybody can improve.
You know, but it's definitely been like a great little, you know, like little tidbit. Like you said, Joe Brown, he been going in, so I'm gonna let him keep going and whatnot.
cut his mic back on. Man.
Try and turn us all against each other, black, white, brown, red, yellow. So a certain select few corrupt crooks can get what they want. We're all in this together. All of us. This is our home. And if you have somebody on the bottom and you keep them down there, they get dissatisfied. If your foundation is decayed, it doesn't improve just because you put a new paint job on it. You have to do something so everybody has a piece of this action. Everybody is provided with the resources to deal with self-help, to deal with self-advancement, to deal with providing for themselves and those that depend upon them. You have to deal with their character so they know who is depending upon them. You have to deal with what's in their heads so they are prepared to function in the 21st century. And then we can go someplace if we stop trying to keep somebody on the bottom. Now, be green for all I care, but if you got a good thing going on, I'll listen to you. Thank you. Pass the mic. Whoa. Still works. All right, same question for you, Dr. Dyson. Again, voter suppression. Should people be required to have IDs when they vote?
Well, look, first of all, I wanted to say what the judge said about policing. It's so refreshing to hear. Because even if you disagree about, those who say defund the police, they got in mind what the judge is talking about. So at some level, it's terminological and it's about nomenclature, not about the substantive philosophy. Figure out ways to take money from over here and put it over there. When they talk about defunding, they're saying, they ain't gonna get no problem with defunding the darn education system. They defunding that all the darn time, right? So what is it about the police? Only in a militaristic society where the law and order enforcement becomes primary in its needs, you living in a fascist authoritarian country. So what's interesting about it, though, I love what he said about the civilian presence on these, review boards and taking people to account, and the brilliant way in which he deconstructed that is so valuable. Because it used to be that community policing, like the judge said, you in the neighborhood, come here, Johnny, stop doing that. Come here, Shanae, stop doing that. When we had intimate relations where you lived, where you police. But the right wing especially don't believe you should live where you police. So the police that killed Freddie Gray came in from Delaware, went over to Baltimore, because it's not they cousin, they mama. When they're mistreating us, they don't see themselves in us, right? So we don't smell like them, talk like them, think like them, process like them, even though we just like you as human beings. So we see white people with machetes in their hand trying to kill police and they refuse to shoot them. You saw the video of a white cop running from a white boy. The white boy took his car and the white man with the gun was running up the hill. Can we get some of that? All right? That's what we're talking about at the end of the day. Character of these characters needs to be reformed in a fundamental way. Now, to answer your question about voter suppression, I think what the judge said is right. There is overwhelming evidence that there's voter suppression. And voter suppression is about local Republican legislators that gerrymander districts, that cut them up and carve them up. And when you look at the distribution of Republicans and Democrats, the Republican-controlled state legislatures have changed the landscape of American politics, because they're determining who goes to what district, who can get elected, who can be forced in, and who can be forced out. Voter suppression is real. Study after study has suggested that it's real. And I hear the judge is funny about that's a funny story about the thugs having ID. Some of them, they done made it up, but that's all right. They got their ID, right? It's counterfeit, but they got their ID. Now, what's interesting is you can have a gun ID and register to vote. But a college ID, you're disqualified. Hold it now, I'm confused. It is a issued ID, right, that allows you. Now, we know it's about federally issued IDs and so on and so forth. A lot of folk can't afford them, believe it or not. A lot of folk can't afford to pay that money. Just because you can afford to pay that money, you would think, oh my God, you can pay $30 and $40. A lot of folk can't do it. So they distribute the necessity for an ID law. Why wasn't it necessity when George Bush #1 got in office, or even George Bush #2? Why was the law changed after that? The judge is right in terms of the timeline, 2008, 2004. Before then, why was it good enough for George Bush to get in, but when Obama comes into play, there's a different set of principles and practices that are put forth? We ain't got to be no genius to understand that the right-wing junta in this country is using every measure and every stratagem possible to reintroduce poll taxes, to reintroduce literacy taxes. In other words, every particular strategy that will deny people access. When the judge talks about what's going on in other countries in terms of getting money, and $20,000 forgiven, first of all, most other countries got free education. You ain't got to worry about no damn student loan because you ain't got to pay for it in the beginning because your tax dollars already will supplement it. They do that in California, they do it in other places. So how about making education accessible to the masses? How about having a national holiday for voting? Why you got to be taken off from your job because they not interested in everybody voting? They want fewer and fewer people to vote. The Republicans have admitted that. They've done studies where they've said, we don't want these people necessarily voting. It's too much access. I'm confused. I thought you were about democracy. No, you want your particular ideology to prevail. Study after study has shown the obvious and manifest injustice of the demand for voter ID laws, and the voter ID laws popped up at a certain historical juncture in this country when the right wing seized power. It was all right for Nixon to get elected under that. It was all right for Gerald Ford to get elected under that. It was all right for Ronald Reagan to get elected under that. It was all right for George Bush #1 to get elected from that. In other words, for a whole bunch of Democrats and Republicans. So let's not be hoodwinked and bamboozled by the stratagems of a white-wing junta in this country to undermine democracy. The moment we split citizen from voter, when you born in this country and you legitimate citizen, you ought to have the right to vote. That is the inheritance of the best of democracy. And I end by saying this. When voting first went into effect, women couldn't vote. Enslaved African people couldn't vote. Only if you were a property-owning white male did you have the possibility of voting. So when we fight for the release of unduly strictured laws against voting, it don't just help black people, it helps the masses of Americans. I'm for more people voting. I believe if you don't win this time, try it next time. Let me tell you what sore losers the right wing are. We didn't win. It must have been illegal. It must have been immoral. They must have had a trick. The fix is in. My team didn't win. The Philadelphia Eagles are 7-0. If they lose one time, the Philadelphians might go, it's the fix in. You know Jalen Hurts wasn't hurt. You know what happened there. A.J. Brown didn't do the damn thing. You're going to come up with a conspiracy theory. The right wing claims to love justice, but they hate justice. They hate democracy. They hate more people voting. And what you should do is demand the right for every citizen in this nation to have access to that voting.
All right. Judge Brown, speaking of justice, because I want to get through this question. When you hear people respond to Black Lives Matter by saying all lives matter, what are your immediate thoughts?
Freedom of speech.
Okay.
And I've been warning people about the fraud that BLM has been putting out there for a long time. See, I could buy whiskey and vote before the 60s were out. And I know what we did, all of the people that died, because it was dangerous being against the party lines back then. People shot you, not for robbing you, not for police using an excuse that you were a black man running, but because of your politics. And I know that there is a problem out there with what we are perceiving now. January 6th, it was deplorable, but there are 185 people. I saw that all the time back in 60s when one college or high school got upset because their team didn't go to the bowl game. When I think of riots, I think of being in South Central in 1965 where they called out a division of the Army to put it down, and there are 15,000 armed troops out there to do it. And you look from horizon to horizon if you turn around and everything's on fire. That's a riot. I think of take your booties to the poll. And when you start talking about voter suppression, are you trying to take that non-thinking group out there so you can manipulate them like they're sheep? Remember, I'm not on anybody's side. I'm independent. I just want to see effectiveness. I remember a client of my law office. He got cheated badly 22 years ago. His name, Al Gore. He was client for our office. See, both sides do this. The Republicans did it then, and I don't care what anybody says. I saw some of the fraud up close and personal this last time, where I live, with the voting machine totals coming out of the 14th largest city in America. Part of the game, but it needs to stop. And the voters need to be enlightened and educated and benefiting of a free press where you can hear everything, not just those things that pass an agenda. Now, I was a teaching assistant for a visiting professor way back when. And she said America is in grave danger of becoming a fascist country. Not from some jackboot-wearing, goose-stepping, uniformed political thugs, but as she put it, from some long-haired beatniks who will impose the worst methods of fascism in the name of doing something for you. Read 1984, read Animal Farm, both by Orwell if you want to get a line on it. It's dangerous. And I don't get it about people's sensitive feelings. I mean, I grew up when we used to run the dozens in elementary school, junior high school. Hey, man, I don't want to say nothing, man, but I was by your house last night, man, and your mama, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Now they go, you talk about my mama, man. I said, calm down. All an art form.
Man, I had to stop him in the middle of that point because he just got the hitting it nail on the head once again, man. It's just, man. I'm interested to see what he does with Memphis, because I want to say Memphis ended last year, like, if not the murder capital, it was like top 3. So, like, if he do win out there, it'd be interesting to see. Like, this is a great proof of concept where it's like words get to meet action, you know?
Yeah, man. That would be great if he could turn it around, man, because I do agree with what he's saying. We need a civilian up there. You know, we don't need just like
people following orders. You're right. All these fraternally ordered people, or they taking orders from the military or taking orders from somewhere. You know, you need people that civilized. I think that civilian word, it's not even being rooted back to civilized or to civil. Like, we need to just be civil people out here. But I guess that's why he said character so much, because it's just
right.
But you go ahead, though. My fault. You keep going.
No, you pretty much just said it. I'm just, yeah, I agree with his approach, and yeah, it is interesting to see what he'll do. So I'll be tuned in.
He's spanking Cuz with the whole I'm independent. Like, you hear me? Because Cuz just keep trying to do some blue red. He even wore a blue tie. Like, damn, this nigga act like his dad was the first Democrat or something. You hear me?
Yeah, it's a good combo. I gotta kind of let it marinate. I'm probably gonna have to watch this again because it's interesting points coming from both sides. But it's like Judge Joe Brown can pretty much he can explain it to me how I understand it. And this guy, he does a good job. But I think his audience is for people of a much higher vocabulary. I need to upgrade my vocabulary to fully understand him because he be throwing them.
Get numerous degrees so they go teach at one of these schools, get recognized by them, like even to the point where now he like a walking billboard for the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? Which ain't nothing wrong with that, but it's like what his arguments be, it be like it's applicable to both sides, to the Democrats and the Republicans, That's why it's like this independent approach Joe's taking or the judge is taking. It's like it's more felt like how you said it's resonating with you more, and it can resonate with more people that are open. It's not gonna resonate with everybody because the people that is, you know what I'm saying, down there drinking blue Kool-Aid and super blue out and just everything donkey crap, they don't want to hear nothing because all they get stuck on is he agreed with Donald Trump at some point, or he agreed with George Bush at some point, or he disagreed with Joe Biden at some point, instead of like overcoming all of that and actually seeing like, well, what's really going on out here,
Yep.
Like we can't even talk about the Kyrie shit.
No, that's it's too touchy for him, man. But it's understood. It's understood. Kyrie about to step down.
Yeah, he retiring, and like I said, it's that shit too. It's too bogus to even like give a response. It's one of them shits where it's like we gotta let shit blow over some more. You know how we did with the Kanye shit, let a week go by. Some shit, cause this shit's like, I don't want to give an assessment right now when I feel like it's still a lot to be assessed, or I know there's a lot to, or it's not even a lot, cause a person like Kyrie, like I ended up going down his, and this is sidebar type shit, I ended up going down his Instagram timeline, bro, and this shit went back to like 2012 or some shit like that, or maybe even longer, and that's like him going to college, all type of shit, and I'm like, man, for somebody to show you they whole shit from like high school, college, you know what I'm saying, whole journey up to this point, it's crazy that people, but it's not crazy, but it's just like the way people like can disown such a person that gave so much of themselves to the world. It just be crazy to me, bro. Like it do be crazy because it just be like, damn, like,
yeah, bro. It really don't matter, like in the eyes of some people at all. It just it matters what they saying at that very moment. That it just like we were talking about last week. It don't matter how much good you do, they gonna remember that one bad thing you do, or the one thing that they dislike. You know what I mean?
Man.
So
it's tragic though, bro, because it make you think like, damn, like Kyrie did a lot of good out here, bro. Like paying for women careers, donating to this country, that country. And like I said, now I guess I'm about to give my opinion on it, but it just be like he reposted some shit and we all repost shit. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I look at it. Like, I try to look at it from that type of aspects where it's like, damn, he's now crucified for reposting some shit. You know, like, not posting some shit or investing or contributing, but just reposting some shit. So it's like, that now sets the bar for everybody. It's like, oh damn, anybody can be crucified for reposting if they just crucified Kyrie.
This was happening long before Kyrie, man. Not long, but like I said, a couple years, because they just been slowly moving to a more centralized, censored society. You feel me? It's like we gotta bite our tongue now, bro. It's moving dangerously close to that C word, man.
And they love it, bro, because it's like what you just said. We have that instance now where it's like, even if they can't get us in totality, it's just the fact that they got at least another 5 to 10% people to now contemplate what they gonna say or do before they say or do it. Like, that's the same way of implementing the social credit without even doing it, you know?
Yeah, damn. And that's scary, man. You know,
tell me about it, because it'd be like, damn, you'd be like,
yeah,
it's like,
free.
It's like skipping school or some shit, you know? Like, damn.
Yeah, damn. Damn, yeah. Well, just gotta brace for impact, man, at this point.
We getting active, we must see people pop in and out.
What's up, y'all?
Hey, welcome to Men Talk.
Follow, what's up, man?
I think bro from Asia.
Alright. Hey, man. Aside from this video, this is a great video, by the way. But, bro, it is a lot going on. Like you said, that freaking FT. Sorry, what's up?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's going on, man? Yeah, man, the FTX, you know, they selling Solana to keep FTX afloat, but that wasn't what I was going to talk about. It was, it's something else in the crypto sphere.
Did you,
what's going on, man?
while you thinking that, did you see how FTT or FTX Bitcoin balance went negative over the last 24 hours?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, man, that was interesting. I think it may have fixed itself or whatever, but they were like, because of, you know, all the extraness that occurred with, you know, CZ and all that, people started withdrawing. Like, they withdrew like 20,000 Bitcoin off the exchange yesterday, and that 20,000 ended up taking them negative today. So I don't know if they done caught up or if this the beginning of a, you know, a big old snowball coming down the hill.
I think that might be the reason they were selling Solana.
Yeah, but technically they don't have enough to cover the people with Bitcoin balances right now. And to me, I'm mad that they go on at S or Sam Bankman, because I'm like, I'm looking at all this shit like it's a movie, because Sam Bankman screwed over so many exchanges. You feel me? So now with Sam Bankman being able to like get crucified as a bad apple, are they gonna screw him over? And in screwing him over, does that mean all of us get screwed over? And all of us, what I mean by like FBX or FTX just bought Celsius, you know, or they trying to buy Voyager and all that. So I'm like, is we gonna get our money, or is we, you know what I'm saying, just done with? Like,
right? Yeah, man. Yeah, I thought about that. I don't know, man. It's, you know, it's mad spooky, cause XRP Army shaking in their boots, like you said, behind that library credit shit.
Oh, that library shit. See, Library, but Library had an ICO though.
Yeah, but they also had you're 100% right. They all their tokens was pre-mined.
Yeah, Library had an ICO and so Library knew they was gonna lose. Like it's just people thinking they was decentralized. Like even my wife, she tried to mention to me like, "Oh, they super decentralized," and it's like, not really. But that's why they lost the case.
Yeah, that's too bad, man. Shit, Crypto Mason or Mason Volusius, that's my dog. But
from Canada,
today, man, I think so. Yeah, the crypto cat, man. Cool dude. But yeah, that's the first face I seen when I looked on my Instagram. But he was not too happy, man. I mean, he the one shilling XRP probably the most. He probably the XRP general.
I mean, Mason's a character at this point. You gotta know. So it's like it's with a grain of salt with the nigga Mason. He even got his girlfriend in it now or whatever. His fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a character for the most part, but
yeah, but he just the main one I always see, bro. Him and the Variable Bull, But yeah, he was panicked. I was shocked to see that, so I had to look. And then Crypto One, he talking about, they lost, so or Library Crest lost.
I mean, it's not the first ones to lose. Fucking Kick lost when Kick had a token. I forgot. I think it might have been the Kick token. Like a lot of crap. The SEC technically, I think, ain't never lost. I don't want to misspeak, but if they have, it's less than like 3%, if that.
I know you're not talking about Kick from Cardano.
No, Kick, like they used to have an app back in the day. Kick, they had a token too.
Yeah, Kick.io.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Kick.io?
Yeah, they lost years ago. They used to be worth a little more than they lost. They lost like 2 years ago. They got declared a security as well.
No, hold up. I gotta check because I got Kick. I still got Kick. That's crazy.
Yeah, Kick been lost. They was one of the first people to lose to the SEC.
Let me check this. Damn. Kick.io, Cardano native decentralized fundraising platform. They still active.
Yeah, they still active.
It might be,
but it's hard. Like it's like what I'm telling my wife. Once you get labeled fucking security, it's like you lose your big money investors, And it's not because they can't invest it, because most of them have their licenses to invest in securities. But it'd be like the whole draw to most of these projects be you're investing in crypto and in the future. So it'd be like once it come out like, oh, this shit's security and it's not as futuristic, it's like it loses momentum. And like if you was probably look up the Kick shit, I don't think they was with Cardano all the time. Because Kick was out even before Cardano, I want to say.
I see that, man. That's news to me.
Yeah, Kick lost to the SEC many moons ago.
Damn, it might be. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure it's the same one. Kick token. Nah, it's a different token. I think it's a different token. Yeah, bro, this not Kick.io. That's my bad. This
I forgot what the token was called. If you pulling it up, you can remind me just for you.
Nah, it is Kick, but it's a different Kick. It's the same ticker and all that.
Nah, I think they rebranded. I think they rebranded after the lawsuit. So you probably seeing the after the lawsuit Kick.
Okay. Shit, man, that shit scared me, bro. Damn.
I mean, it's still the same difference because they ain't never rebound. You just feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what happens with them SEC shits. Like, most of the time, people don't rebound, you know? And that's not even just, that's any federal shit. If the IRS come down your bushes, people typically don't rebound. If fucking FBI, don't matter, pick whatever letters you want to pick. You know, when they come knocking, people don't usually rebound.
Yeah, that's a wrap. But yeah, bro. Oh yeah, freaking Shillin' Villain and Frank got into an argument last night, or not even an argument, because Shillin' Villain ain't even allowed a man to speak.
That's
So,
the people from
Frank,
Twitter Spaces?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this dude Frank, he the one that created D Gods and Youths. He he just released the use. He revealed everything and everything going smooth. Now Shillin' Villain talking about, oh, he was trying to front run the royalties because now Magic Eden is going to optional royalties, and they're trying to say that he's seen that coming. Which really, like, so what if he did? Okay, but now he throwing dirt on his name. Oh, I can't trust him. One lie is as big as the next, and just throwing dirt and false information on him, and wouldn't even bring the guy up to defend himself. And that's why I'm like, Alex, you entertaining my boy, but goddamn it, you can't talk shit about somebody on Twitter Spaces without giving them the opportunity to defend themselves. And that's where I had to draw the line. So, and Frank, he kind of like set it off. He started his own Twitter Space and just exposed the hell out of Shillin' Villain. So,
has it affected
the
their
whole
prices?
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, since the drop, it probably dropped like 30 Solana. So
Ain't Solana been dropping, or it's been holding up with all this shit going on?
and Solana been dropping as of today. That should drop like $2.
I'm about to say, I remember it was struggling. Like, last time I seen a Soul chart, it was like a 22 or something.
22.
Wasn't it? I think 22 or $20 or something.
I saw 29. Yeah, it's at 29 right now, but it's sinking.
All right, well, yeah. So it's been a while. I seen it at like 22, so 29 ain't that bad.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it's a little rough. I was thinking about averaging in or revealing the one I had today, because today you already know this, but today is the 7th. So I was actually thinking about doing it on here and, seeing what we got. And, hey, for everybody listening, we also have a youth space coming out. Raw Down, Dust Labs collab. And it should be pretty fun. So we're going to talk to Frank and everybody on the D Labs too. And, try to get everything rolling. And, yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the youths. And they're going to be having staking coming out pretty soon. So, maybe you guys should consider grabbing one.
So the youth, what was it built on again? Which blockchain? Solana?
Yeah, I hate to say it. But it's definitely built on with Solana. Now, Frank did say that, so Solana goes bad, then they're going to be moving to a different blockchain. So, for what it's worth, I like hearing that. But I don't know how easy that is to do.
It ain't that easy, because we gonna see.
Yeah. We'll see. But I like the concept of staking just by holding the NFT. So I'm gonna give it a shot. And the thing about Frankie is he got a hell of a track record, man. He basically showed us that NFTs can be successful in the bear market, rewarding his holders, all kind of airdrops and benefits and partnerships, seed round fundraisers, and all kind of stuff, man. So I'll give it a shot. It was a little up there, but something like this, I feel like it's gonna be around.
But ETH came down too. I want to say, wasn't ETH coming down today too? Wasn't it like at 15 something?
Yeah, a lot of shit is coming down today. ETH is down about
Well, it's election tomorrow, right?
That's right. It is election day tomorrow. That is exactly
So
right.
we gonna see what's going on Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning. But yeah, I think I'm gonna reveal it tonight. It's a good day. It's a good day. So let's get it. 11-7. Let's see what we got.
Elon say he voting Republican. I heard the tweet. He said he told everybody they should vote Republican.
I mean, you know, the man has influence. He's entitled to his own opinion.
Man, he made youngins buy Doge, so I know he gonna get him to vote Republican. But the whole kill is that shit just be TV because it's like Republicans was about to win tomorrow anyway. It's just they use shit like that as fake narratives later down the line. Like, oh, Elon told everybody to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, niggas was
Yeah, man. Elon got cool, man. Got Twitter. He got all that data. Got cars, spaceship.
I be wanting to vote, but then I don't be wanting to like be categorized at the same time. Cause they be like nobody know who you voted for, but I done seen like when my dad was Republican and he voted for George Bush. I remember they mailed him a little letter, thank you for voting for George Bush. I seen him vote for Obama, and they mailed that nigga a letter. So in my opinion, if it was supposed to be a secret or whatever, then how the heck is they mailing letters knowing who he was voting?
That's a violation.
But it don't be because everybody get them little thank you for being a supporter face at, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're not supposed to say who you voted for.
But the dude do like say you vote Biden or some shit, you supposed to get a letter back saying like, oh, you know, thank you for being, you know, a Biden supporter, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, how do they know? Like, for instance, my phone get violated the most by, like, these Democrat 1-800 numbers type shit. So whatever, spam calls. Like, bruh, I swear to you, I get like 4 of them a day. Get letters, get the postcards. Niggas knock doors. They be like, damn.
Yeah, knock doors. You gotta believe it. Shit, especially on the East Coast.
But bruh, they literally call me like 4 times a day. Like, no funny. Like, nobody call me more than them. Scam likely, you hear me?
Hey man, I literally just implemented this. T-Mobile got this thing where you dial a certain set of numbers, and they go ahead and block them calls for you. I said, man, shit, that's an offer I can't refuse. So I typed in them numbers, and sure enough, I don't get no more spam like this.
That shit don't work like that over here, cause fucking they be using like local area codes.
Oh.
They call from a from a Vegas number, from a Nevada number. They call you, be like, so you mess around, miss a phone call you supposed to have whole time. Like, I done had that happen too.
Oh my. Yeah.
Cause you just think, oh, it's some random scam joint whole time, is somebody calling to check in or something.
Oh man, they might have. Yep. Ah, boy. Might gotta undo that one. But, I mean, shoot, somebody want to talk to me, they can text me too, man, you know? Shit.
Hey, they be texting too. Nigga, they be texting,
but when
they text your first name. They be texting with your name, like, Young, what the heck? Oh, Young, relax. Like, y'all niggas don't know me.
Yeah.
Hey, Fox 5 be texting, so, like, oh, this is our chance to vote. Our chance for your governor race.
That's crazy, though. They said thank you for voting for Joe Biden or somebody.
Yeah, he got it for Bush and Obama. That shit, niggas be getting it. That's not the first.
No, they need to be like, hey, man, thank you for voting.
Hell, you just heard what what the judge was saying about how in Memphis the numbers ain't even add up, and he know the numbers ain't add up because it be real math. Like, even though they keep gassing it like a whole bunch of people go voting, that should be all myth because a bunch of niggas don't vote.
Right.
Like, it just be. I ain't even about to talk about the politics on that shit. I'm gonna stop right now while I'm ahead.
Yeah, we can go all day about that.
Hey, before I even get down these people's bushes. But yeah, man. So what's your bet? You think Sam Bankman and them gonna get through the storm or nah?
I think Sam Bankman gonna get through the storm. I do.
I believe
it's
so
not
too.
Like how this. I don't. Yeah, because with Luna, I ain't gonna say no names, but somebody, and we didn't talk about this before, but somebody then basically said, "Look, I'll buy your Bitcoin right now at a premium." Made him an offer he couldn't refuse, but the whole time it was backing the UST stablecoin. So subsequently, the dude made the transaction, take the Bitcoin and put it in the escrow, so it's no longer there. So somebody go ahead and buy $1 billion worth of UST and send that motherfucker to zero. Subsequently, one more time, they got to sell off Luna to try to bring the price back onto the peg.
Yeah, to get it back to peg.
This ain't nothing like that. It sounds like it's just a glitch for real. But
if you listen to it as a glitch, it's a glitch, but it's not. It's what CZ in essence said, where it's like it's the same shit like as a Luna, because it's like they all print their own money, bruh. It's just that when they do it and they not considered to be the Federal Reserve, then it's illegal, you know.
Okay.
But Sam Bankman, I got this being like part of his movie. Now I don't like, and then crazy, like rest in peace to what's his name that just was talking about that movie shit, Take Off. When he was like, oh damn, on his Drink Champs interview, he was like, oh, everybody don't make it to the end of the movie, or everybody, you know what I'm saying, not meant to be, you know what I'm saying, or they only meant to play certain parts of the movie. So like with Sam Bankman, it's like, all right, if life is this big movie production, and it's like, damn, Sam Bankman just came out of nowhere last bull run. Like, last bull run, he became the richest person under 30, self-made billionaire, 30 billion at 30 years old, or 28 billion at 28 years old, and all these different things. And then he done bought the arena, he done bought this, he done bought that. So then I looked at it like his turning point, so where it's like, this is the Sam Bankman Fried's movie, and it's like, right now, it's either going to be the part that makes the movie, and it's like he prevails, or it's like he going to motherfucking succumb to it, and it's going to be like the movie going to end right then and there. Like, like he came up with...
Yeah, I don't see it happening like that. Me personally.
You feel me?
That motherfucker's too crafty, man.
I wouldn't say too crafty. Like, Sam Bankman, you gotta know, he no different than Michael Saylor. And when I say that, that's because of what? What do Sam Bankman and Michael Saylor both have in common on their paperwork? They both MIT graduates. What does fucking Gary Gensler have in common with them? MIT. What do a lot of these cats that be the ones pulling the strings got in common? MIT. You know, I always used to bring up this fact back in like my pro-black days type shit, where I'd be like, oh, how much money they say the black Americans spend, you know what I'm saying? That was like 1.something trillion dollars or whatever, a little under 2 trillion. And then it'd be like, oh, all of the alumni at fucking, what's the school? MIT, they spend $2 trillion a year, just MIT alumni. So then that was me fractionalizing or getting people to put a visualization together to realize like all the money they try to claim that black people possess or whatever or spend, that shit don't be nothing, because one Ivy League school do $2 trillion a year. And then it's like, nigga, all of them do that shit. Stanford do $2 trillion, Harvard do like 1.8, Yale do another. So it be like, when niggas start talking about that nigga rich type envelope, I be like, man, that shit don't be no money in that category.
Man, I didn't know that, man, till today. Shit.
Right. Like niggas be claiming that 2 trillion like it's something. Like, oh yeah, we black people, we spend 2 trillion. I was like, bro, that shit ain't no money. These colleges, alumni is doing that individually.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Didn't know that. MIT, okay. I don't know, man. I was gonna say they both got Bitcoin on their balance sheet.
Man, they both MIT grads. And then when they went through MIT and all the shit that compiles and going through all that, you realize that, I know I'm saying some wild shit, I'm on the mic and everything, but a lot of these people come out with interest. That's the best way to say it, I guess, politically, where it's like, just because they swaying you, this just like how we was watching the 2 eldersmen speak earlier, Dyson and Brown, where it's like, niggas is speaking with interest, It's not like they speaking their true opinions or thoughts or whatever. Like, I kind of think Joe Brown is speaking his truth, because he done did each side of, like, he done did all type of angles in society, to where it was like he tried to be good as a lawyer, then he realized maybe to inflict change I need to become a judge. He became a judge. Then it was like, oh, doing TV and public speakings. Then it was like, now he want to be a mayor. So it's like his whole timeline of livelihood shows that he tries to correct things that may be wrong. But it'd be like with Dyson, it'd be like, man, that shit just all hot air and tea water. You hear me?
Yeah, tea water. For a fact.
That nigga been alive a long time. All he been doing is public speakings and teaching classes.
Shit, wow, man. I need to go over here and eat, man. I'm gonna stay on the mic though.
For sure.
Yeah. Bet he got some freaking rice in here, smelling good as hell.
Oh yeah. Some African shit. I try to tell people, man, the most hated person right now is the black Israelite, man.
I'm telling you, it seems like that's the topic of discussion nowadays, man.
I be trying to tell you, niggas, don't get caught in that. You get labeled a black Israelite, you're done.
Yep. I ain't saying nothing. I ain't retweeting nothing. I ain't doing none of that.
You're done. I tried to tell him for a while, bro. Like, don't be, hey, like, these niggas will let you be a black anything. You become a black Israelite out here? Fuck no. They hate black Israelites more than they hate Hitler. I'm trying to tell you some shit.
Yeah, man, I'm just curious as to what the hell is next, and how they anticipate it.
More niggas turning on niggas. More LeBrons and Shaquille's and shit like that. Disowning niggas.
You see that shit, man?
Yeah, I ain't surprised. Niggas get disowned by their own family. So you best believe strange niggas gonna disown you. I know Kyrie ain't tripping.
Mm-hmm. It rhymes, bro. They always try to divide us. Somehow, some way.
We be wanting to divide us, man. They ain't never, like you would think. Like this conversation, I don't even know if we can have it on this mic, but you would think a group of them people, like for instance, say you had people strike at take it back in time. Niggas ain't like how shit was moving. Say they was telling us about Rosa Parks time, and then what happened? They struck, and then they wouldn't ride the buses, or drivers wouldn't drive the buses, etc., etc. And then be like, they was doing that about $2, $1. Like they wasn't even making no money back then, and they was willing to strike about it, throw the tea out. You know what I'm saying? Niggas nowadays got enough money to be like, you know what? I ain't got to make a new dollar for another 10 years maybe or some shit. Like some of these cats, you get what I'm saying? And it's like they the scariest ones. Like, bruh,
Crazy, man.
they the scariest ones. But I don't suspect nothing different or expect nothing different from a nigga like LeBron James, bro. Like LeBron, I've been like not fucking with LeBron, and I used to fuck with LeBron tough. Like they had me with marketing back in the day when he was on the Slam. Like that was back when Slam and all that shit was even it. Like before he was even in the NBA, and it was just the whole hype of LeBron James. Niggas was fans, but
Yeah, I remember that, man.
Slam.
Yeah, you're right. I can't explain nothing either, man. Let the chips fall as they may at this point.
Remember, he had the battlegrounds on. We was wearing the flights. Then the fucking Bernie Mac commercial for the LeBron ones. Like, I've been fucking with LeBron way back. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the same cat. Like, I don't even be knowing. Because there used to be rumors about LeBron being like a test tube baby type shit, you know, and it'd be like now that we done got so far in the society, I don't even be knowing what's true or what's not. You hear me?
Yeah, man. Ain't no way to tell now.
Like, was he?
No way to tell for sure because we got schools and shit doing shit for the community. Like, you know, he blended in real good. If that's his job, shit, he doing that motherfucker. And if it ain't, he just doing what he supposed to do.
Cause he was irregular, bruh. He was 6'8", 260, but could run like a fucking machine. You hear me?
Freak of nature.
Yeah,
Really, man.
And now that shit's normal. Like all these people like having these different like pregnancies where it's like they putting the baby in other people or they picking out the genetics and all that type of shit. But it's like now, like if you would have said that shit when we was kids, niggas would have been like, oh nah, you tripping. Niggas can't do no shit like that. But nowadays that shit real. So then it's like now if you bring back up that LeBron shit, it's like, was he one of them first, you know what I'm saying, experiments?
You know, I don't know the answers to that question either, man. But damn it, it seemed like it.
Dude, nigga still 40 something playing in the or damn near 40 in the NBA, bro. That's abnormal, bro.
Yeah, that's wild though. Yeah, I forgot his age though. Yeah, you 100% right.
Niggas break down. Real people break down, bro. I seen the great Vince Carter break down, bro.
Right. Yeah, man. You remember when he got hurt in Miami? He had bounced back like a couple of games later, or like the next game.
Yeah, LeBron was he definitely beat the injury bug.
I don't know, man. I don't know if that's all 100% that. Me personally, I done heard all kind of stories about that shit. And developed my own opinion behind it. So you know, everybody entitled to that. I don't know the facts though. Shit.
I think it's some superhumans out here and like not no funny. Like I don't know who they are, but I think man's been around long enough, so why not be superhumans when it was like imagination was questioning that with like Jekyll and Hyde and fucking Frankenstein and all that type of shit. So you try and tell me people was on it 100+ years ago, but now just on some like nah, like we good. We don't want to see if it can happen or you know like I don't know. I think superhumans is a real thing.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't doubt it at this point, bro. We got robots and shit walking around. You know what I mean? So why not superhuman? It's just how would they disclose that?
I think they be in the military. I think it'd be like, you know how they got like black ops and shit like that. Or I just take it from better yet. I use their Hollywood predictive programming, like Jason Bourne. You familiar with the Bourne movies?
Yeah.
I think it's something like that. Like they get a lab, they create some meds, they give it to a specific group of people. They be out here piped up, Then it be like medication done. They either kill the people that made the meds, or all three type shit. Like,
Yeah. Man. It just makes me wonder because, we might have ran into them. You know what I mean?
them homeless people, I be thinking a lot of the homeless people you see that be like for instance in Vegas, we got them in abundance, and back in DC it's an abundance, and then it's an abundance in Cali too. And it be like, I be thinking it be like, don't be some of the people like, man, you try to talk to them, they can't give you no for real sentence. But I be thinking they be going off those meds. Like maybe they was on the meds, came home, you know what I'm saying, as a veteran.
Because it's one thing I see that's common amongst all homeless people, man, and it's mental illness.
Hey, man.
I don't know why. I mean, it might be why they're homeless, but like, it also could be what you're talking about, on National, I couldn't hear you.
We were talking the whole time saying that was shit.
Yeah, Fetty was trying to chime into our discussion and shit, but I think his mic might have been muted.
Oh yeah, I ain't hear him.
Damn, I was talking hella shit. I was saying hella shit.
Yeah, come on back in, man.
I can't even find that shit.
Tell him pop it.
Niggas, I guess it wasn't meant for me to talk my shit.
No, it is, bro. Come on, it's meant for me to tell you to get back in this joint.
I'm gonna say my shit.
No, I need you in here for a reason, man.
Tell him go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? That's loading up. Well, yeah, that's a really good point, bro. I never thought about that.
Yeah, man, these niggas be out here The Walking Dead. Cause in Vegas, I seen it when I first moved out here, went to the mall, came back, the niggas was telling me how like a lot of these people out here that's on these whatever, like they pay people out here like $400 a month or something to take a bunch of like trial medications or whatever the case may be. And it'd be like, they be like a lot of them homeless cats, they was doing that, taking the medication, getting $400 a month, and it'd be like, you don't know what you be taking or don't be taking. And then it's like, to the naked eye, when you see them, you just gonna write them off as a meth head or something, like oh, he's a geeker or he's a tweaker.
Yeah, wow, man. That's too bad because they're not educated enough to know what they're putting in their body. They just see that check.
I think some of them probably be like, I don't even know, like I can't speak on that part because some of them be looking like they love the highs they get from certain shit,
I wouldn't doubt it, man. Still, because people need shit to cope, and homeless people especially, shit.
Hey, imagine being outside, like just one scenario, just like say you think of the most vicious rainstorm that you've seen this year, and it's like everything you own is outside with you, and then it just start raining on you, like that shit. And that's just one rainstorm that comes to your mind, but it's like these niggas be outside for all the rainstorms.
Yeah, man.
Or in Vegas, it's hot as a motherfucker. Like, you see homeless folks, I'd be thinking cooking, bro. Like, literally on the pavement. Like, bro, I know the pavement 150, 140.
Oh, my God. That's right. And they be having shit on them because, shit, man, like, they ain't got nowhere to put their shit. So they walk around with big jackets and shit because that's all their shit.
Niggas they got big foots, no funny, like, because it be like, they ain't wore shoes, and how many, like, I done seen niggas that I don't know, like, if they seen a medical doctor, probably got some type of something, you hear me, because they foot ain't wore no shoe in, like, probably 5 years, 10 years, who knows?
Damn, man. Man, that shit's all swole up. That's too bad, man. I'll put them in my prayers. I really do, because I don't know, bro.
They make me question a lot, though, because then it be like you got all these people now who be saying they grounding, like they put their feet in the ground and all that, and I be like, it's like if you gonna go no shoes, then go no shoes, and then see how these homeless niggas do this shit, and then tell me if you still grounded. You hear me?
Yeah. That's the ultimate test.
Or you
Hey, man, I
more?
told you I had this dream.
Go ahead.
I told you I had this dream. All right, so I had a dream I went back in time. But I came back as a homeless man.
Damn.
You feel me? And I seen Kobe Bryant. I said, oh my God, that's Kobe Bryant. He playing basketball with some kids. So I go up. I'm like, I got a warrant. First thing on my mind. So I walk up. The kid's like, oh, he stink. Get him out of here. He homeless. Yeah, be gone, bum, and all that crazy shit. And to me in the dream. And Kobe walks away. I'm like, damn, man. I'm like, you don't even know. You know what I mean? So I catch up to him. I run up to him. And I finally catch him. I say, yo, Kobe. Kobe, as soon as he turned around, I woke up.
Okay, you ain't trying to talk to Kobe.
Shit was wild.
You ain't trying to talk to Kobe right now, bro. You should be happy you woke up.
Oh. Holy shit. Hey, that's the first theory. Yo.
You ain't trying to talk to Kobe.
Yeah, that's deep, bro. It was a dream, though. But yeah, you're right. In the dream.
Tell them hold that conversation for another day. You hear me?
Right. Nigga, I was trying to warn them. Don't get in that helicopter with Gigi. Matter of fact, get rid of the helicopter. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, that's the crazy. I swear, bro. And just you saying that, bro. It could have been so real, bro. I mean, who are we to decide for that? You know?
Nah, because we all know that your spiritual self or your spiritual being is like your original being or your first being. Like everything happened in the spiritual realm before it happened in the physical, as has been quoted by many. So it's just like some shit like that. And in a dream state of mind, that's like a spiritual state of mind, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it probably just got too much stuff in there. Freddie said he can't get up in here. Try it again, bro. Just reset your app. Yeah, man.
You seen they got a stadium game? Oh, you seen the Hublot? Oh yeah, you sent me the text. You seen the Hublot Stadium?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that joint looking crazy.
Yeah, supposed to be a watch. I want to see the watch. But they got, they thinking, right? Stadiums and shit is where it's going to be at. It just be crazy because they're doing like 90,000. Like, bro, they can't fit 90 people in that motherfucker. Something like 90,000.
Not without bandwidth. No way.
This app don't even have that. This app, all-time high amount of users at the same time, times probably like 5, ain't even 90,000.
Times 5.
Like, that's a sick bet.
90,000, like, you can't even really, I don't know if you can.
This app would be so lit if it was 90,000 people on it. That's all it would take.
Dumb lit. Mm-hmm. Everybody tell a friend has 180,000 people.
If it was 90,000 people in this joint, this whole joint would be lit. Like, trending page would be lit.
Mm-hmm. Jumping.
Niggas get on the trending page with nothing going on right now. That's not lit.
Mm-hmm. True. Man, we'd be the next Wall Street bets. 90,000 people in this joint.
Just call out a play.
That's where Clubhouse just spanked them, because Clubhouse did the hard for like a brand new app to like naturally keep, like Clubhouse naturally keep probably like 10,000 people on their app.
10,000.
Yeah. Maybe even more than that.
Yeah, damn, that's crazy. Maybe. I mean, Spaces, I done seen 3,000 last night with that Frank shit and shit was doing, but that was the most I seen.
No, they be having, cause Clubhouse. I think I was on there last time went to a Clubhouse joint was when Elon went on there however many, whenever that was, either earlier this year or last year or some shit.
Yeah, but I can't join this nigga.
This joint, he probably having
weird.
problems with it. Cause it, or I don't know, maybe it is this one. Cause there was some niggas in here earlier. I was gonna say it could be because of the token gate, but I don't think so. Cause sometimes the token gate be just throwing off spaces.
Yeah, that's wild. But you was just in the joint though.
Yeah, it say he in here.
They still say I'm in there, but I'm in the 7th trans raw right now.
7th
I don't know
trans
if you have
at the
any
car dealership.
portal. Yeah, the car dealership. I don't know if you have a portal on this bitch. They about to kick my ass out right now.
I don't even know how you
I'm
got to
looking
that joint. I didn't even know that joint was open.
Shit, you know me, I'm player though. You
Man,
know how I rock. Come on, man.
he said I'm player though.
Oh yeah, I see you on this one. They got you on the queen piece over here. I see you.
I'm still over there?
Yeah, you on top of
Hold
the
up,
queen
what?
piece. I just seen it.
That's the reason why I can't get in.
You gotta restart that joint, bro.
I already turned off my phone and everything.
Oh, that's bad. You know what happened.
Why don't you kick me out that shit? But kick me out real quick, and I'm gonna jump back in.
Kick you out. Let me see. Those tools. Even there, a lot. But the crazy shit is, controlled opposition is all I be thinking, cause it be like, all these niggas is now speaking at the same time that they Israelites and shit. Like, I don't know, just coincidences don't be coincidences.
Fuck, it's all distraction right now.
Might be. No, I mean I don't know if it is, bro, because
This could be the rise, and
I
this
don't know.
could be the revelation. They said eventually, at the 400, niggas do wake up. You know, like, hey, this shit, get your popcorn. You hear me?
yeah.
But nah, if you still ask the average person, they still say, nah, I don't believe it. You know what I mean? So they still haven't woken up yet.
Nah, yeah, that's a
Niggas
fact.
haven't really woken up. Niggas just following what everybody else is saying. They still sheep.
That's a fact.
Don't have no mind of themselves, you know what I mean? So, but then,
That's
I
true.
feel like in order, you know what I'm saying, nigga, our teachers have to be the one to really set us free, you know what I'm saying? And our teachers are basically, nigga, the rappers nowadays, the celebrities we follow. So they have to make a choice, bro, because whatever, you know what I'm saying, we could say hella shit, bro, you know what I'm saying, right now, but it's probably not going to go nowhere. But if we have a following, nigga,
You only
that
can have a
motherfucker might go
following
somewhere,
if
you know
you
what I mean?
if you with the bullshit, my brother. They only give the following to
as
the
long
niggas.
as, nigga,
You kind of cut out.
Who,
That's
me?
what you say?
I said they only give the following
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the controlled opposition. You know, like they don't have no true oppositions.
Yep. That makes perfect sense. Because they don't want nobody to rise up.
Yeah.
They want to keep. Yep. 100%, man.
Because as long as the tribe of Judah doesn't wake up, that's basically what they. As long as the tribe of Judah doesn't wake up and they keep niggas still down, you know what I'm saying. But the land of Egypt will still thrive.
Facts.
Basically, America will thrive, nigga. As long as we're still kicked down to the floor, nigga, America will still thrive, nigga.
Hey, that's the way energy work, man. You know, it's what we harvest. It's what, like you said, it's what's being harvested here. You know, like that slavery shit. It was deeper than just saying people was in the field. You know what I'm saying? That shit was metaphoric as well. Like niggas gonna catch on though, man. Like I don't even be thinking
Yeah,
like
eventually.
we spoke on this probably like a week or so ago. Whenever we talking about the Ye shit. But I don't even be thinking none of them shits is binding anymore. Like, you know, it was just like how they say spells and all that, like, or what's binding. Like, say, when you in a courtroom, that's a hot term where it's like, oh, is that legally binding and all that type of shit. And then be like, at this point, like how Kyrie stepped off on some, like, all right, he tried to make it amicable, and then was like, all right, they still trying to crucify him. Fuck it, retire, and then see what he do from here. It'd be like that's the motto that a lot of people be too afraid to embody. You know, like I don't even be thinking that should be about being woke or asleep. It just be niggas be scared, bruh. You know. Like, oh damn, your job come up, be like, oh, you gotta get vaccinated or you can't come to work. A bunch of niggas was scared when they got that joint.
Nah, but I ain't gonna lie, nigga. To be honest, I be feeling like these niggas be going places and these niggas end up getting threatened, bro. Like imagine, nigga, you at a restaurant, right? Nigga, you eating your food, bro. You go to the bathroom, nigga, and then as you washing your hands, you walk out. You about to walk out, and some nigga comes and bumps you. You feel me? And nigga was like, "Hey, you Kyrie, right?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm Kyrie, basically." And that nigga was like, "You know, I heard you been talking that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I see you, your kids right now, and your wife right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need you to make it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need you. What you said, I'm gonna need to take that shit back, or." You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to deal with the repercussions. You know what I'm saying? So niggas is threatening their families, bro. They're not like a lot of these niggas will be like, if you kill me, it's fine. But now you touching my family and getting in the way, you know what I'm saying? So
it'd be hypocrisy in that though, cause a lot of these, I mean, not a Kyrie, cause Kyrie is somebody that loves his family. He always been a family oriented person. But in some of them cases, some of these niggas don't be no family niggas, bro. They just be niggas. So it'd be like, they might use some shit like that as an excuse, but it'd be like they don't give a fuck about their family. They might be same nigga probably got like 4 or 5 kids on child support around here.
Wow.
But with Kyrie, that is a valid point because, like I said, he has shown to be a credible individual for the most part. Like always paying for college kids this or natural disaster that or WNBA players ain't get paid or whatever he paid during a little lockout, all that type of shit. So it'd be like with Kyrie, he is a unique situation, but it's like it's not as it's unique because you would think then like damn, but his base was never built in like the urban community. Like say when Kyrie was first coming out, right? There was John Wall. It was Kyrie, shit like that. So most people gravitated, like the urban, like gravitated to like John Wall. Like Kyrie went to Duke. His fan base was more, you know what I'm saying, mainstream or popular to get. That's why they even gave him the movie and shit with the Uncle Drew. So it's like, I think now it's the same shit Kanye's suffering. It's like when you try to cross over and become like some multicultural icon or whatever the case may be, you get held to a different responsibility. So it's like, because now you got the power to talk to like a white kid, a Spanish kid, a Jewish kid, or whatever the heck. So it's like at that point, they just be wanting to keep you on. It's like to have that following and that income, bruh, it's like you got to follow. It's like getting in a car and every car got its law-abiding, you know, highway rules or whatever the case may be. It's the same shit. Like Kyrie could post some shit. Like he's different. Like Kyrie, Kanye, they in a situation where a Spanish kid could see them or a Jewish kid could see them, and they get treated as like, oh, that's Kyrie, that's Ye. In contrast to like a me or you, where it's like, oh, we another black person in their face. But to like Kyrie's and Ye's and shit like that, like these niggas got flyers and billboards all around the world. You hear me? In places where they don't speak no English. They got a Kyrie advertisement going and a Kanye or Ye advertisement going. So it's like they get held to shit to a different standard. And it's like, it's be on them to embrace it. Like how we was watching Judge Joe Brown stand on the same shit they probably stand on, but it's how he did it, you know? And it go back to what you was saying where it be like niggas don't be learning from the right people. Like you said, people start learning from like young people, like rappers, like those are all people that aren't necessarily elder statesmen in contrast to like the 2 people we got on the YouTube video right now. So where it's like if people start learning more from like eldersmen, then I think you would get a better like, you know, a better youth ability to learn and shit, you know?
Well, LeBron could have changed the whole world a couple days ago, bro. If LeBron would have said, "I'm with Kyrie," nigga, the whole world would have fucking transitioned, nigga. Everybody would have fucking bought that book, nigga.
Bro,
But
LeBron in
LeBron had the
Hollywood.
power.
He in Hollywood. You know he wasn't
LeBron-
doing that.
LeBron, Shaq, niggas are basically. You know, Shaq's a 33rd degree Mason for sure.
Yeah, I'm familiar. LeBron Boulay though. So what did you say? Like, it's like that's what I'm saying. LeBron wasn't gonna change. Like, you gotta know that big ass fucking Sphinx or whatever the fuck he got on his chest. That's the Boulay symbol. The biggest tattoos on his body, that big ass fucking joint on the middle of his chest, that's the Boulay joint.
Like Illuminati, yeah. But Shaq was on TV basically saying that he was a 33rd degree Mason.
He is. He is. Not was. He is.
Well, he is. Yeah, but he's the highest level of being a Mason. In order for you to get to that type of level,
I don't think he made it to 30 because at 33 they never be saying like he running a lodge and like he'd have a lodge or something. I don't think he got no lodge, but I know he up there in it.
A lodge? What you mean by a lodge?
A lodge where they congregate at. Like when you say like, for instance, all right, so in masonry, once you get to your 3rd degree, you're a master. Like from 1 to 3, you're an apprentice. You get what I'm saying? And then from 3 to like, I want to say 2, you get to like your 32nd or whatever the case may be, you're just a master mason. You get what I'm saying? And then it's like when you become a grand master, that be on some like now you run the lodge, so where it's like, you know, like you ahead of a chapter.
Okay.
Now he might be because I think he Prince Hall though, so that's different. There's different type of masons. There's Prince Halls, and then there's the not Prince Halls. There's the regular joints or the Orthodox and all that other type of shit. So it's like if he's saying Prince Hall Freemasonry, he considered to be that, then I'd be like, oh, all right, that's something. But if he's saying in general Freemasonry, I wouldn't say that because in general Freemasonry, they don't give a fuck about like you being an athlete and like, you know what I'm saying, and that type of shit. Like even with the Boulay different than Freemasonry. Freemasonry, they would take in people that's like celebrities or athletes and all that type of shit. The Boulay, it'd be like it's scholars and shit. Like they look down. Like for instance, the 2 people we see talking, that judge and that professor talking, they could be Boulay. Cause it's like they went through all the degrees and all that type of shit. But everybody can't be Boulay. Like that Boulay shit, it's like only 5,000 active members. Compared to Freemasonry is thousands and thousands and thousands. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, shit. I remember I was talking to my nigga, and my nigga was like, he's a Freemason. We ain't my nigga no more. I even said that shit in the song one time that I stopped fucking with that nigga. He told me he was a Mason. But then I was trying to ask that nigga, like, yo, like, I want to interview you. That nigga was like, yeah, but I can't tell you what's going on. Like, you know what I'm saying, 5 years ago. And I ain't even talked to that nigga since. He told me he was a Mason. I was trying to get the information and stuff about it. I just wanted to learn it, see what the niggas is about. But it was like